There is so much growth going on in our community.
Yes.
We have lots of projects underway. We have a Sprouts and a Dave & Buster's coming,
Yay!
which has been on our recruitment list for years. So that's one of those things where it's like, oh, it's finally happening.
What's up, College Station? I'm Grace Hollowell, and today I'm joined by Stacey Vasquez of our Economic Development Department. Hi, Stacey.
Hi, Grace. How are you?
I'm doing well. I was thinking back this morning as I was getting ready to come into work and do the show. It's been a while since we've talked to anybody from Economic Development, and I think the last time Brian P. was on the show, and I'm excited to talk to you today because you and I work together on various different projects, but we've never had you on the show before, so welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I think I was on the show, but it's been a few years.
It's been a very long time.
Yes.
So to start the episode, let's talk a little bit about what it is that you do for the city.
Okay, sure. I am the Economic Development Coordinator for the city. My primary focus is recruitment and retention, but we also, I'll assist our industry economic development manager kind of with industry prospects and, pretty much like anything, other duties as assigned.
Yes, that is something that we are all very good at here. So how long have you been with College Station in your current role?
I have been here for just a little over 5 years.
Okay, awesome. And where are you from originally? Are you a native Texan? Are you from out of state?
I am a native Texan, but I was born and raised in Arlington.
Okay.
And I moved here about 5 years ago.
Awesome. Yeah, we were chatting a bit beforehand.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people in our department that are relatively new to the area within the last 5 years or so, which is very interesting when it comes to economic development because College Station 5-10 years ago is very different to the College Station today, especially with those retail shopping, restaurants. We are growing very, very quickly.
Yes, I mean, just in the 5 years I've been here, I've seen tremendous growth. So I would agree.
Yes. So what is one thing that you wish people knew about your department or development in general?
Well, I think just understanding the importance of economic development and what it does for a community as a whole. Not only is it bringing, different businesses here and then, of course, jobs, which is very important, but it also is what assists with, a better quality of life and getting the amenities that residents would like to see in our city and, all the fun stuff that we like to go out and do.
Yes, absolutely. And I know sometimes when people think development, it can be scary. Change is hard a lot of the times. But everything that we do is very calculated to make sure that we are benefiting that quality of life here for our residents.
It really is. And that truly is our focus in our department is just looking at the city as a whole and what can we do to make it better.
Absolutely. So what is your favorite thing about your job?
I think my favorite thing is just being able to work with the community and then also seeing the end result of whatever project it may be that we're working on at the time. So that's definitely, fulfilling to be able to see, we helped bring, that company here or that retailer here or whatever the case may be.
Yes, absolutely. I know most recently my favorite thing to watch has been all of the new phase 2 for Century Square because that was one of the first places that I went when I moved here in 2021 was going to Century Square. And then comparing that to now, there's so many more stores and restaurants and it's almost a completely different shopping center.
It really is. And it's a whole, almost like a whole little community on its own. You can go there and do your shopping, restaurants, dining. You can see a movie.
Yes.
We have Pop Stroke there, so you can play, some little mini golf. And so, all kinds of fun stuff.
Yes, absolutely. And Star Cinema Grill, that is one of my favorite movie theaters. I am very spoiled by it now with getting like a pizza or some chicken tenders while I'm watching a movie. I don't think I'll ever be able to go back to a normal theater that doesn't serve food now.
Yeah.
So what is something that you have learned so far in your position here with the city, or just in general, since you've started in this world of economic development?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. I do come from, the municipality, what's the word, community.
Yeah.
I worked for the city of Arlington for years, but I was in a real estate capacity there. And so here I'm truly in an economic development role. And I just think, seeing how that works, day in and day out, from when I was with the city of Arlington, it was more kind of outside looking in. And now you're like in the middle of it, working with companies looking to come here, working with consultants, and just really trying to put your focus on what the community would like to see here.
Yes, absolutely. And our community is very unique. We talk about it all the time, where we have a very unique population of students and retirees and young families and young working individuals. So getting those companies that kind of meet all of those needs is something that you guys do a very, very good job at.
Oh, thank you.
So before we get into the meat and potatoes of today's episode, where can people contact you if they have questions about anything that we talk about today?
Okay, well, first and foremost, we have our economic development website, so it's grow.cstx.gov. My email address is svasquez@cstx.gov, and then they're always welcome to call. I office in the Visit College Station building, and so always welcome to call that number and ask for anybody in economic development if there's anything that we can do to help.
Yes, absolutely. Don't hesitate to reach out.
Yeah, exactly.
So how would you define economic development, and why is it important for a city like College Station?
I think I would define economic development as, basically just an intentional process of looking at the community as a whole, job creation, quality of life initiatives, increasing our tax base, all of that combined is what helps us grow and be a sustainable community.
Yes, absolutely. And what are some of the goals and priorities for College Station's Economic Development Department right now?
So currently we are finishing up working with a consultant, tip strategies on developing our next economic development master plan. And that will be kind of our guiding document for the next 5 years. So we're working on wrapping that up, and I'm super excited to start, working through some of those initiatives that are outlined in the plan, and, just can't wait to get going on that.
Yes, and we've had our planning and development team, different department, but they talk about their master plans and how important and how that is like a guiding light for everything that they do. So similarly for economic development, I'm sure that the master plan works in the same way.
Exactly, it truly does. And so we have a lot of initiatives that we'll be focusing on this time around, and it's just super exciting.
And what are some of College Station's key industries and competitive advantages? For example, the workforces, the university partnership. What makes College Station so attractive to businesses that want to come here?
Well, definitely the two topics that you just mentioned. But, aside from our collaboration with the university and Blinn College, we also have, other partners that we work with in the area, City of Bryan being one, Greater Brazos Partnership, Small Business Development Center. We all collaborate together to achieve the common goal, whether or not it's something in Bryan or something in College Station, it's still going to better the community as a whole.
Yes, absolutely. And our community is filled with so many different local and small businesses. So, can you explain the city's role in supporting entrepreneurship and those small business owners?
Yeah, so it's great that you brought up entrepreneurship because it is a focus now, and it's going to continue to be a focus with this new master plan. And, basically, we are trying to do all that we can to assist with the startup businesses and the entrepreneurs that are out there. With Texas A&M being, a significant research university, they're definitely a great partner for us to have. We have recently, well, I'd say it's actually probably been about a year now, but we have 1 million cups come every Wednesday. We have provided them the space, and so they come and meet at our location. But that's a great opportunity to just network with other small business owners or entrepreneurs and just, kind of get your name out there. Not only that, but we have quarterly business over breakfast where we invite local business owners to come, and we'll have, different speakers at different times. And I mentioned 1 million cups. We have a lot of resources on our website as far as area partners that can assist these business owners and entrepreneurs in getting started.
Yes, absolutely. And I know, especially post-COVID, being a small business owner and an entrepreneur, it looks very different than it did prior to 2020. So having those resources and those networking opportunities with the 1 Million Cubs is very, very important for our small business owners or anybody who's looking to open their own business and may not know where to start.
Yes, exactly. With some of the local, especially like if you're just going to start out, opening a business, small business development center is a great resource. They can assist you with, planning, kind of help you work out your financials and just put you in touch with the people in the community that can help you move forward.
Okay, and going back to the Economic Development Master Plan, what are some of the key priorities that are going to be focused on in the update to it, and what outcomes are you hoping to achieve?
Yeah, so definitely entrepreneurship. We are focusing in on healthcare, life sciences, aerospace and defense. Also, retail hospitality. That's a big business here in College Station and Bryan area.
Absolutely.
So, we love the convenience of all the retail places we can go to, and then of course hospitality with the hotels and the different event venues and so forth. That's very important too. As you know, we have a lot of people that come through here for conferences or sports tournaments and all that good stuff.
And yes, you said sports. The Games of Texas will be returning this summer. So having those hotels, conference centers is very, very important for those bigger competitions when they're looking at different areas to bring their competition to. It does crowd some of the restaurants for brunch during those weekends, but overall, it benefits our economy greatly here in College Station.
It does. It really does. And not just that, but having, people come here for the sports tournaments or the conferences. It lets them see College Station. I had never been to College Station before until I came here for a conference when I had worked for the previous municipality. So it's just a good way for people to be able to see our community and what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. And what made you stay here after? Was it an immediate decision like, oh, I got to move here? Or once you visited, you thought, oh, that might be a nice place to live and work?
Yes. So it was the latter.
Yeah.
I did not immediately move here, but when the opportunity arose, it was definitely something that I felt was worth considering. And then I came down here again, and I just love it. I have now she's about to be 6 tomorrow, but a 6-year-old daughter, and I think it's a great place to raise a family. So
yes, absolutely. So how does the department balance the business attraction with retention and expansion of existing local companies?
So it's kind of twofold, right? We obviously go and recruit businesses. We work with, as far as on the retail side of things, we work with the national retail consultant, the retail coach, and they assist us with outreach specifically to like the national retailers. And then, industry wise, trade conferences, trade shows, all that good stuff. That's both for industry and retail. Yeah. Just getting our name out there and letting people hear about what College Station has to offer. Of course, with the university being here and Blinn and some of the other technical programs that are available in the area, it's definitely a positive aspect of the community, and it allows businesses to know they can come here and they will be able to get the employees, or if the employees aren't readily available, they can get them trained and then continue on with further education if need be.
Yes, absolutely. And like you mentioned, I had never heard of College Station before we moved here. We kind of moved here blindly from up north. And the first thing I did was I Googled College Station and looked at the city's website and the Grow website. And I was like, oh, wow, this is an area that is really growing and changing, and that is exciting.
It is exciting. Like we both have mentioned, just in the past 5 years or so, just the tremendous growth we've seen. So I have a few Aggies in my family, and when they come down, they're like, oh my gosh, I wish this was here when I was here, or this place has grown, or it looks so different. So yeah.
And then another thing that y'all do in our planning and development team too as well is they take care in those traditions because of, all of the Aggies that come back here every season for game day and, want to see those things that they remember. As we're developing, we really keep in mind what is important to our residents, and we listen to that feedback and do different studies. So with the master plan, are people going to have opportunities to comment on the plan and give feedback? How does that look?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. We actually had a public engagement early on in the planning process. It was last year. I'm trying to think, maybe October-ish, maybe a little bit earlier. But yes, and we invited the public to come, and it was actually at one of our business over breakfast events, and just get their feedback. We also have a steering committee that has been set up that has met with us throughout the process, and we've been able to get their feedback and go back to the drawing board and discuss with our consultant and kind of compile it all together and get it all in the plan. It will be also presented to or at a P&Z meeting, and then also council once the plan is fully in its full draft form, and it'll be submitted to council for their approval.
Yes, and it is definitely a collaboration of feedback and your expertise and your team's expertise, and it's not just like okay, this is what we want and this is what we're doing. We listen and we take in all of that feedback.
Exactly, and aside from just the actual meetings that we had, as far as in a group form, the consultant tip strategies also reached out to various stakeholders in the community that maybe weren't able to attend any of the meetings, and got feedback from them as well. So we really try to, get input from basically, any and all stakeholders that we could in the community.
Yes, absolutely. And another opportunity for that coming up, the 2026 Economic Outlook Conference. So for listeners who may not know, what is the Economic Outlook Conference and why is it significant for our region?
Yeah, so the Economic Outlook Conference is a event that the Bryan College Station Chamber of Commerce puts on every year, and it enables all the community entities to come in and just really get a good grasp on maybe some of the big wins last year and then what's to come. And so you'll have speakers from A&M, from both municipalities, as far as College Station and Bryan, from the county. You have the National Association of Realtors, their economist will be speaking. So it's just a great time to learn about what all is going on in our area, whether it be, real estate statistics, sales, capital projects, just all of the above.
Yes, a great learning opportunity.
Yes, for sure.
And once more, when is the conference taking place and where?
So it is on the 28th of this month. It'll be at the Hilton, and it's from 11 to 5.
So are there any particular speakers or sessions that you are especially excited to hear from this year?
I always enjoy listening to really the accomplishments that all of the entities have made over the past year, and as also their plans for the upcoming year. It's always great to learn what the school districts have in place and what they're planning for the upcoming years. With the real estate background, I enjoy, hearing about all the real estate data and statistics. Yes. and so, all that is very intriguing to me as well.
So what is one thing that keeps you optimistic when thinking about and planning College Station's economic future?
There's several things. I think it's important to note, because you had mentioned like the pandemic era earlier on, and I moved here during that time.
Yeah.
And, it was interesting to see how resilient our economy actually is compared to the rest of, the United States. Mm-hmm. We really are able to kind of just maintain, during the pandemic, our sales might not have been going up significantly, but they weren't going down like a lot of areas were. So, that is definitely a plus. It's just our economy, and, a lot of that's probably because of A&M.
Yes.
We have this huge university, and so students, want to come here and go to school here. And it's just, I think that helps us with our resiliency. But as far as what else I'm excited about, there is so much growth going on in our community.
Yes.
We have lots of projects underway. We have a Sprouts and a Dave & Buster's coming,
Yay!
Which has been on our recruitment list for years. So that's one of those things where it's like, oh, it's finally happening. So yeah, excited about all of the above.
Yes, absolutely. I'm excited about the Portillo's that is coming.
Yes.
I'm sure my office is tired of hearing me talking about it, but I grew up in Chicagoland, so that is one thing that I am very, very much looking forward to.
Well, good. Yes, it is coming. If I remember correctly, I don't think they're slotted to be completed until like next year.
Yes.
But it is coming. Just sit tight. It'll be here.
Yes, I will be first in line for sure.
Perfect.
So before we head into our closing segment here, one more time, where can people find out more information about the city's economic development efforts?
Sure. On our website, grow.cstx.gov. And then here in the next few months, we should have our master plan complete. And that'll be posted on our website too, once it's been approved by council and, signed off by all parties. So.
Yes, and we will be sharing it on social media as well.
Perfect.
So before we go, we have a fun game of this or that. You can just tell me the first answer that pops into your head. Are you ready?
Sure. So is this just like an either or?
Yes.
Okay.
This or that.
All right, go.
So do you prefer the Hullabaloo Diner or the Dixie Chicken?
Probably the chicken.
Okay. The community movie nights or a live music event?
Live music event.
A new coffee shop or a new sports bar?
Coffee shop.
Shopping at Century Square or shopping in South College Station?
I would say Century Square right now, but I'm hopeful that with some potential new developments going on, South College Station might be my preference next time.
Awesome. And then finally, representing College Station at a trade show or at an industry conference?
They're all great, but I'm going to say trade show.
Well, thank you, Stacey, so much for joining me today. We had a lot of fun, and I hope to see you again soon.
Thank you for having me.
And that's what's up.